This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Talked about Game 2 being a must-win for our Milwaukee Brewers after they dropped Game 1, and, well, they failed at that mission. They fall to the Dodgers in Game 2 tonight at American Family Field. This one by a final score of 5-1, and now have dropped not one, but both games of the National League Championship Series to open this series to the Dodgers, facing a 2-0 deficit, heading out to LA for the next potentially 3 games. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. As always, my name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on Twitter at Brandon_Snide. Thank you for making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. A friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can get the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. We are also over on YouTube, where we are live right now. Your thoughts, your reactions, your frustrations, I'm sure, are ready to be heard. We'll have at it all tonight on the show. We'll talk about the starting pitching for both of these teams. We'll talk about the Brewers' offense, or their lack thereof, this evening. And we mentioned it before, the Brewers now trail in the NLCS 2-0 after they fall 5-1 this evening in Game 2. We will address all of it, but let's begin with your scoring summary this evening, brought to you by Monarch Money and FanDuel. And for the Milwaukee Brewers, Freddie Peralta on the mound, getting a clean first inning, and Jackson Chourio wasting no time in this one, you guys. The first pitch he sees, Jackson Chourio takes it 389 feet to right center field, giving the Brewers in that first inning a 1-0 advantage. And when the way Freddie Peralta was pitching in that first inning, I don't know about you, I was feeling pretty good, but that didn't last long. That takes us to the second inning of this game, and unfortunately, your turning point in the Brewers' 5-1 loss.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Second inning was what the Dodgers did to the Brewers in the second inning is what the Brewers have done to so many teams throughout the course of their 97 wins throughout the regular season, including the NLCS win against the Chicago Cubs. After that Jackson Chourio leadoff home run, the Dodgers responded. How many times have we talked about the Brewers responding right after adversity early in games or at any point in games? That's exactly what the Dodgers did in this one. Teoscar Hernandez, 377 feet, no doubter, off of his bat to left field right away, responding and tying things up. And then a Pages double later in the inning would score another run for the Dodgers. And before you know it, before fans are probably still celebrating the Jackson Chourio home run, the Brewers had a 2-1 deficit in this game. And the way that Yoshi Yamamoto, who got the start for the Dodgers, settled into this game early after that Jackson Chourio home run, you knew it was going to be a tough task for this offense, for these bats to get going. And that certainly was the case. He was absolutely fantastic. We'll talk about his numbers in a little bit, but he would sit down the Brewers offense for the entirety of this game. No more offense for the Brewers after that first inning. That would be it. You would get a Max Muncy home run later in the sixth inning. That would make it 3-1. Freddie Peralta discussing with manager Pat Murphy in the dugout that he wanted to go back out there for that inning. Unfortunately for Freddie, he gets the first 2 outs in that inning, in that sixth inning. You feel like if Freddie could escape that sixth inning and it's a 2-1 game, maybe there's a different vibe. Maybe there's a different energy. Not the case. Muncy on a 3-2 count takes him straight to center field, 412 feet. That would make it 3-1. The way that Yamamoto was pitching, when you saw the score at 3-1, it felt more like 20-1. Unfortunately, it just did, right? Outside of the Jackson Chourio home run, there was absolutely no offense. The Brewers didn't even have a runner in scoring position for the entirety of the game. Obviously, with the Jackson Chourio home run. But other than that run crossing the plate on that solo blast, Brewers never had anybody else in scoring position in this one. Later in the seventh inning, Ohtani would single to right field. That would score a run. And then Tommy Edman with a single of his own in the eighth inning would also bring home a run for the LA Dodgers. Freddie Peralta in this one, not a terrible start for Freddie. He does take the loss, unfortunately, 5 2/3 innings pitched. He does give up 3 earned runs, 97 total pitches thrown on the night for Freddie Peralta. we needed a better start out of Freddie. You needed prime time Freddie on the mound. You needed game one against the Cubs. I know he gave up the home run to Michael Busch in that game to lead things off, but he pitched 6 straight innings after that and completely shut down that Cubs offense. You needed that against this Dodger team because of the way that the Brewers bats unfortunately have been going. I'm not putting all the blame on Freddie at all, right? If you are in the postseason, you're going up against this LA Dodger team and you go 5 2/3 inning and only give up 3 earned runs, that's still pretty good, right? That gives you a chance going forward in this game. And the Brewers bats just failed once again this evening. And we'll talk about the Brewers offense, unfortunately, going forward. But Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brewers, not a good performance this evening from the bats, as we had mentioned, but Freddie 5 2/3, 3 earned runs, and a very frustrating way to end the 2-game stand here at American Family Field to begin the championship series. When you lost game 1, we talked about it on this show. Game 2 was a must win for a couple of obvious reasons, right? You cannot go 0-2 at home to begin this series. You got 3 games now out in LA where they only have to win 2 of those games to clinch the series. But you had Freddie Peralta on the mound. You felt okay. William Contreras at the end of the game talked about maybe the momentum kind of switching a little bit after the Brewers almost won that game in game 1, coming from behind and Bryce Terang striking with the bases loaded. You felt maybe the momentum was shifting towards the Brewers. I know William Contreras had mentioned it. And then you get a leadoff Jackson Chourio home run. And then you're thinking, okay, we're, a little bit of momentum coming our way. Maybe we can get going here. Maybe this is going to get us moving. And then Teoscar Hernandez, one of those Dodger batters, once again, responding right away for LA, and the Brewers really never stood a chance after that. Yamamoto, absolutely deadly tonight. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the player of the game, the things you'll be talking about tomorrow. And of course, your thoughts, your reactions, and your frustrations after the Brewers fall to the Dodgers 5-1, now down 2-0 in this best of 7. And they'll head out to LA for the next 3 if needed. Of course, the Dodgers only needing 2 more to advance. All that coming up after this. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, one easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's built for people who have busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, like me, Monarch Money is for you. It does the heavy lifting for you. It can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your own money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks like the Brewers did at American Family Field, losing the first 2 games of the best of 7 series. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Again, that code word, locked on MLB. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is also brought to you by our wonderful friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app, whether you're a casual fan or if you love diving into the stats. FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, that's FanDuel.com. Download the app today to get started. It started off great for our Milwaukee Brewers, and that's about where it ended for the Brewers as well. A Jackson Chourio leadoff home run in this one gave the Brewers a 1-0 advantage, and throughout the course of the game, after a couple of home runs from the Dodgers, a couple of timely singles with runners in scoring position, the Dodgers would chip away, add a handful of runs, and the Brewers fall in Game 2, 5-1. And without further ado, your Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game after the 5-1 loss.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Yoshi Yamamoto this evening, not going to break any news, not probably going to divide the fan base on this one. A complete game in the playoffs. The last time it's happened for LA, 2004, Jose Lima, the late Jose Lima, the last complete game for the Dodgers in the postseason, 2004, 21 years ago. After that Jackson Chourio home run, Yamamoto absolutely sliced and diced this Milwaukee Brewers team. 111 total pitches. He struck out 7, obviously the 9 innings, just the 3 hits, and absolutely dominated this Milwaukee Brewers team. And what's equally frustrating about the loss is that this was the same pitcher that this Milwaukee Brewers team gave his shortest start of his career back on July 7th of this year. They won 9-1 in that game, and he chased them after 5. I think it was 5 earned runs in the first inning of that game out there. I believe that was the game out in LA. That might have been the one in Milwaukee. They had a series before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break. But different story tonight, unfortunately, for Yamamoto against this Milwaukee Brewers team. He obviously gets the win and got the run support later on in the game. It was a tight ball game for most of it, as we mentioned. A 2-1, 3-1 game after that Muncy home run, and then obviously the Dodgers being able to tack on a few more runs. But Yamamoto, Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game. Anytime you throw a complete game, but you throw in a complete game in the playoffs, it is a completely different story. So that is unfortunately going to be the Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game. Hats off to Yamamoto. Standing ovation for that pitcher. He was absolutely fantastic and gets the honors in this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We talked about it at the beginning of the show. For this Brewers team tonight was pretty much going to be it, right? You were either going to win and give yourself a fighting chance in this series, or you were going to lose, which they did this evening, and now you're looking at one of the tallest mountains to climb in baseball postseason. Home teams that lose the first 2 games of a series don't win much. It's in the World Series. It's only happened 3 times in the history of baseball. So there's a lot to overcome for this Brewers team. But I think aside from that, what makes me most upset about this performance, give credit to Blake Snell, give credit to Yamamoto. This just didn't look like the Brewers offense that we have grown accustomed to over the course of the last 167 games, if you include that 5-game series against the Cubs. And I know there was a couple games in there where they weren't great as well. Christian Yelich looks lost at the plate. William Contreras, who was outstanding in the NLDS. Andrew Vaughn, who was outstanding in the NLDS. Those 3 guys combined this evening, 0 for 12 this evening at the plate. 0 for 12 with your 3, 4, and 5 hitters in this one. It was an odd approach. I thought, I put it on my Twitter account at Brandon_Snide, an odd approach at the plate for a team that had just talked about trying to get to that LA bullpen, and you allow Yamamoto the leadoff home run, the first pitch, but then after that needing just 20 pitches to get through the next handful of batters. And once he got through those next handful of batters, the next 2 innings to be exact, 22 pitches thrown over the next 2 innings, once he settled into that, that was when you knew the Brewers were in trouble. When he was getting comfortable, Brewers weren't getting on base. They weren't threatening on the base paths. There was really no threat ever in this game for the Brewers to score on the Dodgers outside of obviously the Jackson Chourio solo home run. That's when you knew this Brewers team was in trouble. You add in Snell's 8 innings, you add in Yamamoto's 9 innings, 17 combined innings, and the Brewers scored just 2 runs against those 2 pitchers. Give them credit, give those pitchers credit, but it's frustrating because this isn't the team that has gotten to this point. This isn't the Brewers team we're seeing. We're swinging at pitches outside of the zone early in counts. We haven't done that, and now we're doing it. And now you're creating an 0-2 count, a 1-2 count early, and then you're forced to be uncomfortable at the plate. And that's exactly what they did. Also give them credit. Teoscar Hernandez taking the crowd right out of that ball game right away. After that Jackson Chourio home run, everybody's living their best life. 5 minutes later, it's a tie ball game. 5 minutes after that, the Brewers are trailing. There goes the crowd. Give the Dodgers credit that they did exactly what they wanted to do, plus more, right? Jackson Trail, also, tying a franchise record for career home runs in postseason with 4 at 21 years old. That's great news. That's probably the best news from the game. Maybe the Brewers getting out of a bases loaded, no outs jam in the 9th. That's something to look at and be positive about, I suppose. But it was a disappointing performance in these last 2 games because this wasn't the Brewers team that we have rooted for, that we have cheered for. They look out of sorts. Tonight, it felt like maybe that the pressure was being felt, not wanting to lose both games at American Family Field. And I think the Brewers felt that at the plate this evening. Your thoughts, your reactions, your frustrations on the program, all welcomed. We begin with Everydayer Cody, who's been here all year. He says, team looks absolutely lifeless. Yelich, Terrain have disappeared. I'd rather have Monasterio in the lineup over Ortiz, but they don't look like the same team they beat the crybaby Cubs. It just doesn't look like the same team. It's very, it's weird. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's the pressure of being in the NLCS. I don't know if it's the pressure of seeing multiple Hall of Famers for the LA Dodgers, out in the field and at the plate. I don't know. But it just doesn't look like the same team that we've grown accustomed to. Everydayer Nick, the Dodgers pitchers are attacking the crew hitters in the zone, not allowing them to work up the pitch count. That, with not seeing the ball, equals a bad offensive performance. Now I'm worried. 0-2. Yeah, I think the worry is a good summary of how most Brewers fans feel. Or if you're like Charles, he says that was pathetic. That would also sum up how I think most Brewers fans would feel in this one after they completely dominate the Brewers in this one. The Brewers, again, we're going to go back and look at game 1 as being an interesting part of this series because, and I know we're on to game 2, and I know we're doing a postcast for game 2, but the Brewers find a way in the bottom half of that 9th inning to squeeze out a run or 2 and get that game, maybe win that game, or if you use Pat Murphy's quote, steal that game. Like, tonight's not, you don't feel as bad this evening. You feel way better going to LA with a 1-1 series, knowing that LA has to win all 3 before it comes back to Milwaukee. So that was, I think we're going to look at that moment and be like, okay, maybe that, obviously turned the tide in this series. And then obviously the Brewers had a little chance in this one where they go up 1-0 with the Churio home run. But after that, Yamamoto settles in. The Brewers hitters at the plate absolutely lost, as Charles also points out. I just did not like the approach today. So much first ball swinging, did not work the count at all. Very unlike this Brewers team all season long. And that's the takeaway I had as well. It just, I know Ron Darling, Brian Anderson, who obviously has called a ton of Brewer games this year, also on the TBS television broadcast as well. Also making note of that, talking about how this team had talked about after losing game 1. Pat Murphy had talked about it. We saw Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz and William Contreras talk about it after the game, being like, man, if we can use some of that momentum from game 1 and that late inning, almost heroics to propel us into game 2 and maybe get Yamamoto on his heels a little bit and get into that Dodger bullpen, there's an opportunity there. Started off perfectly. The Brewers unable to come through. Matt over on YouTube, unlucky at bats, hardliners, and poor grounders. The Dodgers defense just killed us. We aren't comparable with a team of variance. Lucky to be here attitude. I will agree with the unlucky at bats. There was a line drive 111 miles off of the bat at Jackson Trail, right at, I don't know if it was Pajes. I forgot who was playing left field. I guess I can pull it up and look at it right here. Kiki Hernandez out in left field, right to him. I mean, I don't even know if he moved a step or two. I mean, just right to him, hit it square on the barrel, and it was just right to him. And again, those things happen, though, right? Those things unfortunately happen. The Dodgers had a couple of those against us tonight as well, and in game 1. So some of those things happen, unfortunately. Catch over on YouTube saying lifeless, just absolutely no energy at the plate. Who is this team? And I think that's just a great comment to end on, because that's exactly where I'm at. I don't know. And I think that's the most depressing thing. I can take losing, guys. We're Brewers fans. Like, we can take it. We're Wisconsin sports fans. We've seen it. We've lived it. but it just doesn't look like the team that we fell in love with all season long, that has won a franchise record 97 games, beat the Cubs in the NLDS to end their season, and had home field advantage at American Family Field for 4 wins away from a World Series appearance. And it just doesn't look like anything from that group of guys. Like nothing. I don't know. Right? Big stage, bright lights. Dodgers have been there. They've done it. They just did it a calendar year ago. They got the all-star power. But again, the Brewers were the best team in baseball. And I know the regular season doesn't mean anything. I understand all of that. But this is the one takeaway that I have from this game is it's disappointing because this doesn't feel like the team that we watched and rooted for all season long. We'll see if the Brewers can turn things around an off day tomorrow before they are out in LA on Thursday. So we'll talk then. As always, thank you guys for making Locked On Brewers part of your day. Thank you for always tuning in. Remember, friendly reminder, wherever you guys get audio podcasts, you can get the Locked On Brewers postcast as well as over on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button for me. I know the Brewers lost, but hit the thumbs up button for me. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified when we go live. We will go live after Game 3. It's an earlier start for the listeners in Milwaukee in the Central Time Zone at 5:08 start, I believe is what I saw. So an earlier start on Thursday. So we'll wrap things up after the last out, and hopefully the Brewers can at least get 1 or 2 out there in LA and get this series trending in the right direction and see if they can make some history and turn things around. But you know what? Win, lose, or draw, we'll be here. Thank you guys for making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. And as always, win, lose, or draw, a tough one today, a tough one on Monday. The Brewers now down 2-0 in the NLCS after a 5-1 loss this evening. But as we've done it all year, and we're not giving up yet, baby, it is always go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone. Talk to you on Thursday.